Though we've now had back-to-back 40-40 seasons, the most recent one was by Alfonso Soriano in 2006. The highlight of the Nationals' second season as a franchise, Soriano became the fourth member of the club, and they only went to that point without later accusations in front of him. So let's look at Alfonso Soriano's incredible and somewhat forgotten 40-40 season.
Totally sports-esque. Major League.
Coming out of the Dominican Republic, Soriano's professional career actually began in Japan in 1997, and after contract disputes and a dislike of the practice schedule, Soriano hired Don Yamura to help with the situation, someone who also helped Hideo Nomo make it to the majors. And after disputes with the team, Soriano became a free agent in 1998 and was signed by the New York Yankees. He made his debut in 1999 and played his first full season in 2001, where he hit .268 with 18 home runs and 43 stolen bases, finishing third in Rookie of the Year voting behind CC Sabathia and the rookie MVP Ichiro Suzuki. He would also have huge hits in the World Series, including a walk-off single in Game 5 and a go-ahead home run in Game 7, though the Yankees fell short. He remained with the Yankees for 2 years, where he would blossom into a star, making the All-Star team and winning a Silver Slugger in 2002, as he led the league in hits, runs, and stolen bases, while finishing 1 home run shy of joining the 40-40 club, as he finished third in MVP voting. He was an All-Star again the next year, which would be his last year with the Yankees at the time, as he would be a part of the famous Alex Rodriguez trade that sent him to the Rangers, where he would have his third and fourth straight season of hitting at least 25 home runs and driving in at least 90 runners, with 2004 being the only season where he didn't steal at least 30 bases, making his fourth All-Star team here and winning his third Silver Slugger. And in the offseason, he would be a part of another surprising move. At the winter meetings, he would be traded to the Washington Nationals for Brad Wilkerson, Joe Musledge, and Armando Galarraga. The reason it was surprising is the Nationals still didn't have an owner in their second year of existence, and with the few resources Jim Bowden had, it was expected that he would go after starting pitching. But they got the 29-year-old, and he would receive the highest salary ever awarded in arbitration at $10 million, $2 million less than requested, as he also rejected a 5-year, $50 million extension offered by the Nationals. And there were problems before he would even take the field, and that was in where he took the field. Soriano was expecting to play second, as he had his entire career, but Jose Vidro held that spot and was going to keep it. And after playing in the first ever World Baseball Classic, manager Frank Robinson put Soriano in at left field for a spring training game, and Soriano refused to take the field. And what the Nationals told him after is that he would not receive credit for service time with the obligations of his contract, and therefore his salary would be forfeited and he would be ineligible for free agency. So 2 days later, he relented and played left field, and he would go on to enjoy the position along with those $10 million. He would make his Nationals debut on April 3rd and picked up 2 hits, along with a stolen base. There were some problems between him and Frank Robinson regarding his hustle, but they would resolve, and he hit his first home run on April 8th, and 13 days later, prior to a game against the Braves, there was a 2-hour rain delay, but when the rain went away, Soriano would go on to hit 3 home runs, to become the first National with a multi-homer game. He finished the month with 7 home runs and 5 stolen bases. And though the Nationals were 8-17, with mid-expectations, Soriano said he always felt like a National, and he would continue in what would be a record-setting May. On the 17th, he had his first of many multi-stolen base games, as he had 12 home runs and 8 steals for the season at that point. And by the end of the month, he had an additional 7 home runs, to put his total at 19, which gave him 12 home runs for the month, which was a franchise record. And that includes when the franchise was in Montreal and were known as the Expos, as Soriano topped the record previously set by Henry Rodriguez in 1996. He had his second multi-homer game on June 4th, with one of those being a grand slam to bring his total to 21. He would later say he liked stealing bases more than hitting home runs, as he didn't see himself as much of a home run hitter. But his numbers would disagree. He did slow down in the power sense for the rest of June, as his 5 stolen bases topped his 3 home runs, as his average dipped to 267, after being at 312 to start the month. But he would have his third multi-home run game on July 3rd to put his total at 26, while he stole 2 bases the next day to put his total at 20, as he would appear in the All-Star game for the 5th straight time. And with Soriano set to be a free agent, and with him still playing at an MVP level, he was naturally a key target for the trade deadline. But he would say he felt better in DC than he expected and had a desire to stay. But that seemed very unlikely when the Nationals made an 8-player deal with the Reds for Austin Kearns, with rumors that there was a 100% chance he was going to be traded. But support for Soriano amongst fans and players became more vocal, with Frank Robinson praising his leadership abilities and saying he should be the MVP. And though the Cubs, Yankees, and Dodgers all made offers, none of them were worth trading him according to Jim Bowden, and he would be greeted with a standing ovation in the locker room on July 31st when it was official that he was staying. And he said he was happy to focus on playing now, as at that point, he had 32 home runs and 27 stolen bases. with the 40-40 club a very real possibility. And on August 18th, he would join a club he was already a part of when he stole his 30th base to go along with his 39 home runs. This is the fourth time he had at least 30 home runs and stole at least 30 bases, only Barry and Bobby Bonds having more such seasons at 5. And the next day, he joined a club he was never a part of as he hit his 40th home run, a number he never reached before, finishing one short in 2002. So now it was a question of could he steal at least 10 bases before the season ended, which he apparently enjoyed more. But before he would steal another base, he would hit his 41st home run, which was the 200th of his career. And 4 days later, he would steal 2 bases, which gave him his 200th career stolen base, making him the fastest man in baseball history to hit 200 home runs and steal 200 bases, doing so in 929 games, 124 less than Eric Davis, who was the previous record holder. And there was little doubt that he would join the other club when he stole 6 bases over the next 2 weeks, and on September 10th against the Rockies at Coors Field, he swiped number 39. And in the 9th inning with the Nationals down 4 with 2 outs and a runner at third, Soriano took off for second, without a throw. However, the score ruled that it was defensive indifference, keeping him at 39, with Soriano saying that when they give him a base, he takes it, and he's sure that he would have plenty of chances for number 40. And he took full advantage of his chances, as in the next 3 games in Arizona, he tried for number 40 in each game, and each time, he would be caught stealing. But that gave him a chance to get number 40 in front of the long-suffering Nationals fans. And the second game against the Brewers, he hit a single in his first at-bat, and with second base open, he took off. And this time, Mike Rivera couldn't get a grip, and he made it to second without a throw. The 24,000 at RFK Stadium gave him a standing ovation, as the base would be taken back to the clubhouse, as he officially became the 4th member of the 40-40 club, with Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, and Alex Rodriguez. Sitting on the moment, I see the fans screaming, and when I saw it was safe, I said to myself, I did it. I am so happy. And his manager, Frank Robinson, would add, I knew he was capable of hitting anywhere from 35 to 40 home runs. The 45 has been a bonus, especially in this ballpark, and the 40 stolen bases. Him running was a pleasant surprise early in the year, how aggressive he was and how successful, and then they just started to pile up, and you wanted to see him do the 40-40 thing. And Soriano would add more historical notes to his season before it was over. He would record his 20th outfield assist after never playing outfield before, as Canseco and Bonds wouldn't record 20 assists in their 40-40 seasons. And on September 23rd, he would hit his 40th double to become the first member of the 40-40-40 club, and he's still the only member. He played his last game of the season on October 1st, and he was taken out in the 4th inning to a standing ovation from the crowd, being a bright spot in the season where they finished 20 games under 500 and in last place. He finished the season hitting .277 with a .911 OPS and a career-high 6.1 WAR, hitting those 46 home runs, 41 doubles, driving in 95, and stealing 41 bases. He would end up finishing 6th in MVP voting, not helping that he was on a bad team, and there were many good candidates that year. And interestingly, 3 of the 4 members in the club at that point did not win MVP in their 40-40 seasons, with only Jose Canseco doing so in 1988, when he was the first to ever accomplish the feat. And in looking at those 4 seasons, Soriano was the only one to top 45 home runs, though he lacks in some other categories without doubles shown. Also interesting is Jose Canseco is the only one of these 4 to play on a playoff team in their 40-40 season, as the other 3 played on below 500 teams. And something mentioned after Soriano completed the feat, more apparent in the years after, was he was thought to be the only one to that point to have a clean 40-40 season, as Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, and Alex Rodriguez would become 3 of the faces of the steroid scandal. Though Alex Rodriguez claimed to use steroids in later seasons, while Bonds didn't start working with Greg Anderson until 2000. Meanwhile, Canseco openly admits he was using steroids at the time. Either way, the accusations would cast a shadow over those 40-40 seasons, except for Alfonso Soriano. And of course, there are now 6 members of the club, with Ronald Acuna Jr. in 2023 and Shohei Ohtani in 2024, both forming new clubs, with Acuna forming the 40-70 club and Ohtani forming the 50-50 club, with both winning MVP and playing on the team with the best record. And Soriano is still the only member of the 40-40-40 club, as neither hit 40 doubles. And you can't take away anything from what these 2 did, but something you have to note is that Ohtani and Acuna have the benefit of playing with the new base running rules, bigger bases, limited pickoffs, and the pitch clock. Again, you can't take anything away from them, but you wonder if 40-40 seasons will become more common as stolen base numbers rise, considering there's been 1 in each season so far. In that sense, it could make what Soriano did even more impressive, as traditionalists may view his feat as the last real 40-40 season, along with first clean one, as many say. And of the 40-40 seasons, it seems to be the most forgotten, partially because he isn't the biggest name in the club, as he's the only one without an MVP, and there's the fact that it's pretty easy to forget Soriano was even on the Nationals, as he's mainly associated with his time on the Yankees and later the Cubs, as his 2006 season is one of the greatest one-off seasons in baseball history. He would reject an offer from the Nationals, and in free agency, he signed with the Cubs for 8 years and $136 million. In his first season in Chicago, he hit 33 home runs and stole 19 bases. And the next year, he hit 29 home runs and again stole 19 bases. These two being his last All-Star seasons and his most stolen bases over his final 8 seasons, as he was 32 years old in 2008. He declined some in the next years, but he had a resurgence at the end of his time with the Cubs and his return to the Yankees, hitting 30 home runs and driving in 100 in 2012 and 2013. He finished his career hitting 412 home runs with 289 stolen bases, making 7 All-Star teams and winning 4 Silver Sluggers, with his 2,095 hits, making him one of just 7 with 400 home runs, 2,000 hits, and 250 stolen bases. Recently being inducted into the Latin Baseball Hall of Fame, but not enough to make it to Cooperstown. And a reason for that is Soriano wasn't able to stay consistent all those years. Also unfortunate that he didn't play his first full year until he was 25. But he still had one of the best peaks you'll ever see. As mentioned, only Barry and Bobby Bonds had more 30-30 seasons at 5. Soriano had his 4 in just a 5-year span, being just 1 home run away in 2002 from being the only player to have 2 40-40 seasons. And a rather underrated great career, he fittingly had one of the most underrated seasons in 2006. Hopefully you liked this video, and if so, please consider liking and subscribing for new videos every week. Thank you.